Hello, today we are going to present the amazing trip to Montenegro. So here is our group member and we are going to present in this order. My name is Ujilin and I'm going to present the introduction to this country. Montenegro, the name Montenegro comes from Old Venetian Italian and it means Black Mountain. Montenegro is a country in southeastern Europe and it is located on the Adriatic Sea and is a part of the Balkans. For the neighbor country, it is bounded by Adriatic Sea and Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Kosovo, and Albania. For the capital city of Montenegro is Podgorica. The name Podgorica means under the Gorica, which is the name under the hill in the middle of the town. Today, Podgorica is almost entirely of post-war construction because it was flattened by numerous bombing raids by both sides in the Second World War. It is the largest city in Montenegro. It covers 10.4% of Montenegro territory. It is home to roughly 30% of its population. Podgorica has always been at the historical and cultural crossroads of Europe. It is here where many nations, culture, and roads have met. Old and new, traditional and modern, Podgorica offers its charm to all visitors. Montenegro tourism suffered greatly from the tragic civil war in 1990. In recent years, along with the stabilized situation in the region, tourism in Montenegro has begun to recover, and Montenegro is being rediscovered by tourism from all around the world. In June 2006, the country Montenegro has gained full independence from Serbia, becoming the Soviet state as it is today. Modern Montenegro is one of the youngest countries in the world. Since it declared its independence from Serbia in 2006, the only younger country in the world are Kosovo and South Sudan. In 2007, the country received a peak level of tourism, which almost reached the pre-war volume as a result. Many roads have been renovated and many hotels have been constructed and renovated. For the population, Montenegro has a population of less than 1 million. It is a small and peaceful country. The official language of Montenegro is Montenegrin. However, people in Montenegro also speak Serbian, Albanian, Bosnian, and Croatian. Montenegro is not part of the European Union. However, it has no currency of its own and uses the euro. Montenegro does not mint, issue, or print euro, but import it from Eurozone countries. When Montenegro became independent, it decided to use the German Deutschmark. So when the mark was discredited, the euro followed in its place. So why Montenegro? Montenegro is rich in art and culture and is cheaper and quieter than other countries. And it's very small and it's small enough for you for travel and see everything in the country. And more than that, it's safe because the crime rate of this city is very low.
I'm Chai Chen-Yan, and now I'm going to talk about some of the preparation that we need to do before the trip. About the visa, there's no visa requirement for Taiwanese to go to Podgorica, so we don't need to apply it beforehand. For the insurance, we choose the insurance from the Cafe Century Insurance. The price of it is 1,607 Taiwan dollars. We choose this insurance because the amount of the insurance claim of the flight delayed, luggage delayed or lost, trip delayed or shortened are much higher than other companies' insurance. For the airlines, we choose the Turkish Airlines with the economy class. The outbound flight of our trip will be on 15th of October at 9:55 p.m. from Taoyuan, and will be arriving at Podgorica on the next day, 7:40 p.m. The return flight of our trip will be on the 30th of October at 8:30 p.m. from Podgorica, and will be arriving on 31st of October, 5:55 p.m. in Taoyuan. For the transportations, we will be taking bus or taxi during the trip. And in 2 of the days, we will be taking trains. About the accommodation, we will be staying at 4 different places during the trip. The first one is rooms Lisichi with the price of 676 Taiwan dollars. The second place is Camp Gigantic with the price of $2,039. The third place is the Old Town Youth Hostel. The price is $2,579. And the last one is Apartment L&M. And the price is $2,028. About the restaurants, we may pay visit to these 3 restaurants. The first one is the restaurant in Kota, which names Tangiga. And the second one is Restaurant Co. Both of the restaurants are able to provide some homemade delicacies where we can have a taste of the local foods there. And the third restaurant is Dudley Seafront Restaurant, where we can enjoy the seafoods there while watching the beautiful view. The total expense of our trip will be around 45,000 Taiwan dollars per person and is without the dining fee or some other personal expenses. And now let's get to the next presenters.
Hi everyone, I'm Shumei, and today I'll be briefly walking everybody through our itinerary from October 15th to the 25th. And now this is our full map for our 15-day stay in Montenegro. So as you can see, we're basically going a full circle. So now, because for the whole October 15th, we'll be spending on the plane. So we'll arrive at Montenegro on October 16th. So after we leave Podgorica Airport, we will head straight to Kolashin. And we will only be staying there for 1 night, and then we will move on to Biogradska National Park. So for 17th to 19th, we will be staying at Biogradska National Park, and it is one of UNESCO's World Network of Biosphere Reserves, and it has one of the last 3 large virgin rainforests in Europe. So this national park offers a lot of hiking and biking trails and a lake, so you can go canoeing and boat rowing, and we'll be doing all that in these few days. And one of the highlights for staying at the Biogradska National Park is that we're living in a katun. So what is a katun? They're small huts used by families in summer months when they are grazing livestock. And working katuns now continue to exist, but the number is declining, and many of them are transformed into hostels for tourists to stay and to experience the authentic way of living in Montenegro, which can be dated back way back to ancient times. And now moving on to 20th to 25th, we'll be staying in Kotor. So in these few days, Kotor will be acting as our base city, so we can go to visit all kinds of places from there. So for the first 2 days of Kotor, we'll be basically exploring the old town. And I'm not going to go into detail, but I've listed some of the main attractions. So including the Cathedral of St. Tryphon, the 3 main gates, and for more rigorous outdoor activities, we have the Ladder of Kotor, and which you can hike up for a few hours, and you will pass by other attractions like Our Lady, our Church of Lady Remedy, and then finally you will stop at Castle of St. Giovanni, where you can look down on the whole city and the Kotor Bay. And on the 23rd, we will head over to Perest. It is a town not far from Kotor. And one of the main attractions at Perest is Our Lady of the Rocks. It is an artificial island with a church accompanied with a museum on it, and you can only get to it by renting a boat. And the other island is the island of St. George, which can be seen right across from Our Lady of the Rocks. It is a natural island, but unfortunately, it's not open to tourists. So on the 24th, we'll be going to Ostrog Monastery, which is here. It's quite a bit far from Kotor, and it's a Serbian Orthodox church situated against an almost vertical background. And back in ancient times, pilgrims had to walk 3 kilometers from the lower monastery to the upper monastery barefoot before going inside to pray. So when you go there, you can absolutely rent a taxi to take you up there. But if you want the full authentic experience, you can hike all the way up yourself. And on the 25th, finally, we're going to Budva. And Budva is also known as the Montenegro Miami. It is a very popular holiday coastal town. And now the few main attractions at Budva, aside from a lot of different beaches, there is the Dancer from Budva statue, which is basically an unofficial symbol of the city. And then we had Sveti Stefan, which is Gultrudal. It is a fortified village dating back to the 15th century, and during 2009, it has been refurbished into a 5-star resort. So for the 26th, I'll hand over to the next presentation.
I'm Kevin, and we're going to talk you through the last few days of our trip and talk to you about some highlights from our trip. So on October 26th, we're going to go to Dermator for sightseeing. And we're going to depart at 8 from Kotor to Budva and then to Podgorica. And then we'll arrive at River Canyon of Moraca for lunch and photo. And then we're going to Tara Bridge. And then we'll move on to Dermator National Park at 3:30 p.m. And then for the next 3 days, we're gonna stay in Cetinje. It's a historic capital of Montenegro. So from October 27th and 29th, we're gonna explore the city. Cetinje is a former royal capital of the country and is the location of several national institutions, including the official residence of the President of Montenegro. There are also some buildings and locations we plan to visit, such as the Cetinje Monastery, King Nicholas Museum, and other 2 places. And on October 28th, we're going to Lovchen National Park. So we'll go there by bus and then go to Niego's Mausoleum and Mausoleum of Peter II Petrovic. We'll then have lunch before we hike other trails, and we'll go back to our accommodation in Cetinje by bus. And on the last day, we're gonna check out hostel and transfer to Podgorica Airport. And then we plan to go around the city to kill time until our flight to Istanbul at 10:30 p.m. We'll transfer and arrive in Taipei at about 5:55 p.m. on October 31st. Okay, now let's take some time and take a deeper look at some of the highlights from our Montenegro trip. So first is Dermator National Park. Dermator is in northwestern Montenegro. Its landscape is mostly high mountains, and 48 of the mountains are above 2,000 meters high. There are 3 rivers that surround the area. In the north is Tara River Canyon, and the west is Piba River Canyon. On the south is Komarnica River Canyon, and on the east is the Plateau of Lakes. And the national park is a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1980s. The national park also embraces 18 glacial lakes, and due to the beautiful view the lakes add to the mountain view, they are also called mountain ice. So one of the most famous lakes from the 18 lakes is called Black Lake. the Black Lake is easily accessible, like it's within the walking distance from the town nearby. And there is a hiking path, and on the shore of the lake, there is a restaurant that provides traditional Montenegrin dishes. And that is where we're gonna have lunch and enjoy the splendid view. In Demeter, there's also like okay um okay let's move on to the next spot, the Lovchen National Park. So the Lovchen National Park, encompasses the central and the highest part of the mountains. It was proclaimed a national park in 1952, and there are two imposing peaks. Both peaks are over 1,500 meters high. The mountain slopes are very rocky, and the fissures and pits of the mountain make the scenery one of a kind. Lovchen stands between two completely different natural landscapes, that is the sea and the mainland. So the climate is also influenced by these two different climates. So the ecological system is also influenced by the climate and the geography. There are 1,158 plant species on Lovchen. So you can see the ecology is very rich, and four of those species are endemic to the area. That means you can only see them in Lovchen. Besides Lovchen's natural features, the national park also protects the significant historical, cultural, and architectural heritage of the area. Like there are particular architectural relics worth mentioning. One of them is the road, like winding uphill from the quarter to the village, is the birthplace of Montenegro's royal family, the House of Petrovic. So you can see on the picture that is the mausoleum of Peter II Petrovic. Okay, let's turn to the next presenter.
Hi, my name is Wang Jiaxin, and I'm going to introduce the highlights of our trip and give a brief conclusion about it. Okay, we choose Coder to be our highlight since we love the coastal view of it. And as you know, Coder is an old Mediterranean Sea site, and Coder has perfect view of Gulf of Coder. And we really enjoy the old town in Coder since Coder is rich in culture and natural resources. And we think that Coder is okay. Next page. We think Coder is an educational site since the wall town is an UNESCO site, which means it is an historical region. And since Coder is an old Mediterranean port, it remains the Middle Age appearance with a lot of monuments, churches, and town walls. Next page. And we think that local delicacies is the best exploration of culture, and we choose 4 traditional dishes to be our highlights. First is lamb milk. Second, it's Balkan porridge and buzara, and we finish with our Montenegrin pancakes. And the first dish you see here, lamb milk, is a dish braised in milk, garlic, and rosemary, and it is very tender and full of flavor. And also the Montenegrins enjoy lamb in milk with crusty bread. And the second dish, it's Balkan porridge. It is a dish cooked up with cornmeal and potatoes, and the Montenegrians add sour milk yogurt to this dish, which makes it taste really traditional. And the third dish, the buzara, According to our research, we found that the Montenegrin food is generally divided into three styles: the mountain style, heartland style, and the coastal style. And Bazara is the coastal food. And it is basically seafood with garlic and cooked with white wine sauce. And the last one, we choose the Montenegro's pancakes. It is pancake with chocolate, jam, and banana, and it is a simply but clever dessert. So we think food really plays an important role in our Montenegro holiday. Next page. After that, we enjoy living in Camp Jankatic the most. There's lots of perfect mountain views in Camp Jankatic, and it is located in the Biogradska Nogra National Park. And nonetheless, there's sleeping cabins and swimming pools, which is like a fairy tale. And there is our favorite part of it is there's some barbecue facilities. And also Camp Jankatic, it's surrounded by spectacular views of lakes and mountains. Next page. In conclusion, we think that Montenegro is a perfect place for cultural learning since there's lots of historical sites. And also, Montenegro is a place good for nature exploration. There's a lot of magnificent sea and mountain views all over Montenegro. Next page. Okay, this is our presentation. Thank you for listening.